right, high energy episode.
High energy episode.
No one has told me this, but I just generally feel like our episodes are like grovelly almost.
I can already feel myself melting into my chair.
Like already from the higher energy, you're already coming back down.
Yeah.
So it's a very quick mood for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know where to start.
I will start by saying that I am sick. So if my voice sounds bad, that's why. If you notice weird, heavy breathing off to the side of the mic, that's why. I'm going to do my best not to.
I feel like you do the breathing thing a lot of weeks, though. That's not unique to when you're sick.
Okay, whatever. Well, I'm sick, so I guess whenever I do it, just cut me a break.
Be very forgiving of Shelby. Well, I think we talked about last time grandparents being here. They are now all gone. My grandparents from New Mexico are back home. And my grandparents from Florida are on their Alaskan cruise, I think. Or maybe they're about to go on it. I think they were visiting some friends in Anchorage before they went on the cruise. Which I think my grandpa has a sinus infection. Both of the grandparents were sick, both before and during and now after when they were here. It's just kind of going around. Anyways, we're very jealous of the grandparents on the cruise, certainly. Like, I know we've been planning out our late summer and fall schedule, and I've already used half my vacation days for the year, and it is just not going to cut it. One of my best friends is getting married in September, and that is like a must-attend event for me because he's important to me, but also because a lot of old friends will be there as well. So it's kind of one of the few kind of meetups that we'll have in the next few years. And that will probably take at least a day or two of vacation. And we've also talked about going to the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. I've been to that maybe once or twice as a kid, but not really as an adult. I believe that balloon festival is one of the bigger ones in the world. There might be one in Turkey that's a little bit bigger, but it's fairly well known. So we've all kind of just been talking about that, and it seems like this is the year to go actually do it, go see it. So that will be some more time that I'll need. We've also talked about going to the Texas State Fair. I think we can squeeze that into a weekend trip, but that will still be kind of tricky to schedule. My grandparents have now rented a vacation spot on the beach in Florida in October, and we've been invited to that as well. So all these special events are going on, and these are just the ones that I know about right now. In addition to like regular Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I just have no idea how I'm going to make that all work.
Not enough time, not enough money.
Frankly, I'm more concerned about having the time. This week was pretty good, since as long as I've been alive, I have always procrastinated. I've started to think lately that I might have some kind of mild ADD type disorder, because I don't know, I've noticed lately that I really struggle to focus sometimes, and even focus on things that I like. Like today, I just dedicated a lot of the day to catching up on my editing photos. I intend to edit some video tomorrow as well. Getting blogs posted, all that kind of stuff. This is all stuff that has been on my to-do list for a long time. I'm kind of a to-do list person, so I like to check things off. And more importantly, it's things that I want to do. I enjoy taking photos. I enjoy editing photos. I enjoy sharing them with people. And even when I'm doing those things, I would notice myself just losing focus. And not even on Twitter or anything. Like I would pick up my phone, unlock it, look at the home screen, and then just lock it again. I just don't even know why I'm doing that.
I think that that's probably a pretty common phenomenon of just we're constantly picking up our phones out of habit. And when there's nothing there, you just kind of set it back down, I guess.
Yeah. I read an article in some online magazine, something like The Verge or like TechCrunch or something tech focused. And one of their writers for the story went and got like professional help for his phone addiction. He didn't like the word addiction, but phone, I don't know, obsession. There are various different psychologists and counselors that kind of specialize in digital obsession. So I think he had some Skype meetings with this lady, and she had some, kind of program steps. And it seemed to help him with symptoms similar to what I'm describing. I still think mine are a little bit different because I'm not actually picking up the phone to actually like check Instagram or to check Reddit or whatever. Like, there's nothing on the phone that's drawing me. I just quit working on what I'm working on my MacBook.
It makes me think of a pattern in human behavior. I was reading about, for a long time in the kind of analysis of human behavior, it was thought that if you are crossing your arms while talking to somebody, that is a sign that you are trying to separate yourself from them. You're trying to distance yourself.
Yeah, I associate that with defensiveness.
And now the more common thought is that it is actually a form of self-soothing, like giving yourself a hug, basically. So that's something that might be done more in a situation where maybe you're a little bit uncomfortable or nervous. Of course, it also could just be habit or like a comfortable place for you to put your arms. But it is more a self-soothing habit and less a defensive habit. And I think that the way we pick up our phones could be something similar to that. We pick up our phones as a type of self-soothing. Just a theory.
It definitely could be, I don't know, dopamine related. I know jack squat about like brain chemicals, but I know that is connected to like us checking Twitter or being excited when we get a notification.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time I look at my phone usage. I don't know. Just to defend myself a little bit, I guess, one of the hallmark features that I notice in someone who I might think is addicted to their phone is that they like have trouble putting it down when they're with other people.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have that problem.
No.
Whenever I'm with someone else, I am ultra aware of like what I do with my phone and what they do with their phone. And it really bothers me personally whenever someone else is using their phone, especially when we're having a meaningful conversation. If there's a group of people and it's a very casual environment, maybe, someone mentions some movie and you're trying to think of the actor, so you pull up IMDb. There are situations where it makes sense. Like the IMDb thing, frankly, comes up a lot with my family because we're always talking about movies or who was in this movie. And, what else was that guy in? So sometimes that'll come up. And, like, that's a different thing than just, like, Snapchatting someone when you're in, like, a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah. I think in group settings, it's still really important to make sure that you are paying more attention to what's happening around you than what's happening on your phone. But that's something that I have to be reminded of a lot. Maybe not a lot, but if I am with a group of people, I might be on my phone and you'll kind of look over and give me a glare and I'm like, oh, why on earth am I on my phone right now? And I'll put it down and then it's easy for me to remember where I am. But that's just even something that I have to be reminded of. It's not instinctual for me to pay attention to where I am more than pay attention to what's on my phone.
Yeah. The difference between the group and the one-on-one is there. Generally, I try not to use my phone in either. And like I said, I think I'm pretty good about that. I guess I generally have more understanding if someone else is using their phone in a group setting.
Yeah, I mean, you tend to be on your phone a lot when we're with my family. But
I think that happens more whenever it's a conversation that I just don't have much to contribute to.
yeah, but you can still listen. Like, even if you don't have anything to contribute, it's still interesting to listen and learn about other people's experiences.
Yeah. But I don't know, like if it's like you and your mom or you and Carrie talking about The Office, which I don't mind, like it's totally normal to talk about work outside of work. I don't know, there's not much I can add.
No, but it's not any less rude.
You're not wrong. Speaking of friends, last Sunday night, we had the best time with some new friends at our church. They invited us over for a PJ pizza party at their new house. The couple that was hosting has, I think, 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the other couple that came has 4 kids, I think.
I think 4, possibly 5, but I think 4.
Yeah, 4 to 5, maybe 4.5.
Well,
There are half kids. That's a thing.
how's that?
I mean, some kids are so small that they're like half of a kid.
I would tend to disagree with that, but
They're not half a person. It's not like they're worth any less, but you could kind of fold them up.
But they
smaller.
aren't a whole person, so I guess what?
I mean,
your argument doesn't make any sense.
It's just that they're just compact.
I think maybe we should move on.
Anyways, there were 6 to 6.5 or 7 kids there. And we actually had one of their parents there to kind of babysit. So the rest of us could kind of hang out, have pizza, have some adult beverages. And I don't know if it was planned, but we all realized we all like games. So we got some cards, and they actually taught us how to play original Canasta. I think we've mentioned before that we like to play hand and foot Canasta, which is kind of just a variant. But they taught us how to play the original OG Canasta, which was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And the kids were still around and everything. They were mostly occupied, but they were around, and that was kind of neat. They were all very pleasant children to be around.
Yeah, they're all great kids.
They colored us pictures to bring home, so I got a picture of like a dog in a top hat.
I think I got a picture of maybe a unicorn or horse, something like that.
I believe so.
Yeah, very good pictures.
Mm-hmm.
High quality.
Oh yeah, that premium kid art.
That premium 4-year-old art. So that was a total blast. Shelby also made some really yummy treats for everyone, which were a smashing success.
I would go as far to say that they were the hit of the party.
Showstopper.
I might not say that, but they were yummy. I made some Rice Krispie treats, and a 4th of them I dipped in chocolate and drizzled with peanut butter. and another fourth I dipped in chocolate and sprinkled with M&Ms. They were all delicious.
They were really chunky too. Like each one was like probably the size of 2 normal pieces.
Yeah, especially the peanut butter ones. They were really big.
Yeah, it was like a 9x13 baking sheet was cut into 6 pieces.
I think maybe it was 8, so that's not far off.
How about this? It was the size of a generous piece of egg casserole. That's how I would think of it.
Okay. You're not wrong.
Whenever my mom makes egg casserole, she almost always cuts it up into 8 pieces. At least if she's making it for guests.
That might only be a size comparison that your family would know.
Or you could think of it as a big restaurant-sized piece of lasagna.
Okay.
You know, it's like your kind of broad, generous portion.
Yes.
It's kind of like whenever I was a kid, we'd go on road trips and we would ask Dad, how long is it until we get there? We lived hours and hours and hours away from all of our grandparents. So these car trips took like an entire day. The only way to measure time for a child is to use analogies to something that they have reference to. Because children have no idea how long a day is. So you have to put it in their terms. So whenever we were kids, my dad would usually tell Leanne and Jordan that it was maybe 3 more Barneys until we got there. Even if we weren't watching Barney, that was still kind of the measure that was used.
That makes sense.
I think later on, you know, once we kind of outgrew Barney, we measured it in Adventures in Odyssey.
I like that.
Yeah, which is kind of like this Christian radio story program. I don't know how to describe it, but they were fun. I think those were like 40 minutes long.
I'm not sure.
Maybe 45 minutes long. So that was another unit of measure. That is kind of what I'm doing for your Rice Krispie sheets.
Sure.
Because I am still a child and I can't comprehend just an eighth of a 9x13 pan. I have to put it in terms of how much lasagna would that be? Mm-hmm. Or how much egg casserole would that be?
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun with the friends.
It was really fun. And I can't remember if it was later that night or if it was the next morning. But one of the hosts texted me and was like, I hope we weren't too weird for y'all or anything. We had a great time. We really love y'all. And I was like, oh my God. It was so sweet. It's like, oh, no, y'all were great. We love y'all too. It was very cute. It's exciting to be able to like make friends as an adult. I feel like that's tough.
It is, for sure.
Especially we're at this kind of weird stage where we're not in college, but we're still really young.
No kids.
We're also married, but we have no kids. And so there's not really anybody that fits in that same thing with us. So most of our friends, you know, are maybe some collection of those, but are not all of those. So, but it's good for me to know that, oh, I can be friends with people who have kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And even though not many of our close friends have kids, a lot of them are at least starting to talk about it or getting closer to having plans for that. Whereas Shelby and I, at least for right now, don't have any plans.
No.
Things could change. Who knows?
Sure.
But that's not a part of our, 5 or 10 year outlook. You know, because everything in our lives is planned around, a 5 or 10 year guide. Everything is scripted. Everything is according to plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what millennials are known for, is executing on a well thought out guideline.
I knew that I would always be able to be friends, like continue to be friends with people who had kids. You know, my friends now, I'm not going to not be friends with them when they have kids.
Oh, that's very comforting for all of our friends out there who might be listening. We won't drop you immediately if you have a kid.
Certainly not. I think it is important to recognize that, like, a person's life completely changes once they have kids. And that is super real. Anyways, I always knew that I could be friends with people who had kids. For some reason, it never occurred to me that I would, like, become friends with people who already had kids. I don't know why, but that just seemed weird to me.
It's almost like in high school, whenever your best friend gets a new girlfriend and she's like in a different friend group or something, and you're like, uh-oh, there goes that friend. Like, I'll never see them again, because if things go well with that girlfriend, then they are just out of your life. That's it.
That's not at all what I'm saying about children.
It's kind of like that, though. I live for analogies. Whether
I
it's
know.
lasagna or high school girlfriends, that is my jam.
Whether it's a good analogy or a bad analogy.
It's the same thing. It's just acknowledging that someone that you have a relationship with, not like romantic, but just any relationship, that whenever their life situation changes, it changes every part of their life, including your relationship with them.
I agree, but you are framing it in a way that now they have a girlfriend and we aren't really going to be friends anymore. And that's not how I view it. I'm not viewing it that negatively. I'm just acknowledging that those dynamics do change.
Okay, I didn't mean to bring the negative connotation. Certainly having kids is a generally much more mature and like positive change in someone's life than a 7-month fling in junior year of high school.
Yeah. But kids have always just made me a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know how to talk to them. I don't know what to do when they're talking to me and I don't know what they're saying. When they come hand me things, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do with this ball of grass, Timmy?
I think you're supposed to be nice to them.
And that's what I do.
Them.
That's what I do. And when they're telling me about literally who knows what, I just kind of smile and I nod and I say, that's cool.
So you're saying it's not like you don't understand them, like you don't understand their perspective. It's like you literally physically don't understand the English words they are saying.
Oftentimes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think I usually know like what they're saying generally, but not specifically.
You had younger siblings.
Yeah.
It would be embarrassing for you if you didn't know. I did not.
Yeah, you're a single child.
I'm only child, is what it's called.
You were single for a long time, too.
I am an only child to a single parent.
Oh, okay.
Get it straight. Anyways, I was an only child, and so I never really interacted with younger kids much. Even whenever I was a kid, I did not like kids. Kids are stupid. They're annoying. They're sticky.
Not our friends' kids.
Not our friends' kids. No.
Those kids are way different than other people's kids.
Uh-huh.
And if you're listening, I'm sure your kids aren't the kind of kids we're talking about either.
Uh-huh. Anyways, that's my general experience with kids. As time goes by, I get a little bit more comfortable being around them. But going into a house with 6.5, 7 kids, I was a little bit nervous going into the situation, and then it was totally fine, and they were all great, and I could compliment the kids on their cool pajamas, and they showed me their pretty colors, or like colorings, the pages they had colored. Anyways, it went well.
See, I didn't know beforehand that you were nervous.
It wasn't a thing that I was like consciously aware of, like, oh, I'm so anxious about these children, but it was more just a thing that I noticed afterwards.
Like a low-level
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
Shelby and I just celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary. I think the actual date was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was was it the 17th?
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
the 14th. It was the 17th.
One of those two.
It was the 17th, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think it was. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah, I would have to check the calendar.
No, it totally is.
I have it in my contact for you.
It's totally the 17th. Haha, 17th.
We're obviously very tied to that certain date.
Oh, yeah.
Things have been completely crazy the last 2 weeks with ballet recitals and trying to get the photos in for the contest on time and grandparents stretching over 2 weeks.
Friends visiting.
Friends visiting, us visiting other friends. Yeah, it was just nuts. So we just didn't even try to like have a date or anything because we wouldn't have been able to find the time, and even if we did, we couldn't have really properly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've had dogs to take care of pretty much constantly for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, I can't go anywhere because I've got to be back to take care of dogs every like 3 hours. So it's hard to relax with that.
Yeah. We finally carved out some time to go see a movie and have dinner. Shelby has had a craving for coconut shrimp for I don't know how long.
It's only been a few weeks.
Okay, only a few weeks. Shelby gets these cravings for like a very specific food or a very specific restaurant. And from what I can tell, there's no cure other than just to give in and go get that thing.
Uh-huh, yeah. That sounds like a really good cure to me. I don't know what other kind of cure you're looking for.
Well, that's not a cure, that's just giving in.
I don't view it as anything to resist.
We live in such a podunk East Texas college town that, to our knowledge, there is basically no place to get coconut shrimp in Nacogdoches. We do have like a country fried fish place that has coconut shrimp, and that isn't exactly what you think of when you think of a quiet romantic dinner. So we drove to Lufkin, which is only about 20 miles away, and found an Outback. They have some kind of appetizer thing with coconut shrimp on it. So Shelby got her cravings fulfilled.
I got my fix.
Her fix, yeah.
It was delicious.
I usually get ribs at Outback. I'm not sure why. I mean, I really like steak, but they actually have pretty good ribs there. I think it's easier to find good steak in Nacogdoches than it is good ribs. We have lots of good barbecue, but it's usually more brisket or sausage focused.
Yeah. We've got lots of good steaks in town. No shortage of steak.
Right. But that was all good. We went to see Rocketman after dinner. That is the new movie. Is it a biography?
It's a biopic.
Biopic.
Is what it's called.
What is the difference between a biopic and a biography?
What a great question to ask.
It's about, what's his name?
Elton John?
Elton John. Yeah, that's the guy. I have great retention. That's why I did so well in college. Because I could remember things just long enough from cramming for the test to the test.
So I guess a biopic is just a biographical movie. A biographical dramatization. And they just call it a biopic. I guess as opposed to like a biographical book.
I guess so. Or a documentary. Because this didn't really use any like actual footage of him performing.
Yeah, it definitely was not a documentary.
So it was a true story dramatization, like you said. This wouldn't be my first choice of movie to go see. I think of myself as like a very boring, stereotypical guy that would rather see like a Fast and Furious movie or a Godzilla movie or things like that.
You like the occasional rom-com, but it has to be a very good one.
Yeah, I'd rather go for a rom-com. Like, I love that movie. What's that one with Steve Carell? There's one with Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
And Emma Stone.
Oh. Crazy Stupid Love.
That's it. I love that movie.
We also really like a movie called About Time. That's a really good one. Also
good. Yeah, so I'm not strictly like Jason Bourne movie type.
But primarily.
Or like we watched, what I really like is thrillers. I really like, well, not thrillers, but like heist, suspense kind of movies.
Heist. Do you like a heist?
Like we watched Charade this last weekend. And that's an old, what's his name? George...
Cary Grant.
Charade is an old Cary Grant movie with Audrey Hepburn.
There you go.
It's not like particularly action-packed, but it's more about the tension and about the suspense. It's very Hitchcocky, which I also like a lot of Hitchcock films. And frankly, there's not usually very much action in them. I mean, there is some, but like Rear Window is a great one with Jimmy Stewart, where almost the whole movie happens in one room, and he's just like watching things happen around him. And only at like the very end does anything ever happen.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, I'm sorry. If you're spoiled by a movie from, I think, the 1950s.
From 1954,
then you can get
very good. Good job.
I recommend the movie. It's very good. I recommend almost any movie with Jimmy Stewart. So I have a soft spot for old movies. Rocketman was just overwhelmingly sad.
Well, not completely.
I mean, pretty much back to front, it was a sad movie.
Not at back. Back was happy.
Like the very end,
yeah,
when it says like he's no longer an alcoholic and drug user, like that part is good.
Yeah.
But like all the stuff before then, like his whole life was just a complete mess. I mean basically the whole movie is just like a big advertisement for being sober. Like he was your stereotypical rock star, had, you know, weird family problems, had weird business problems, had weird relationship problems, you know, used every kind of drug and alcohol out there, and almost killed himself, kind of had several breakdowns. Like your kind of normal rock and roll story. And
I mean, I hate to normalize it. I know that that's not super unusual, but I hate to make it out like, oh, this is just what you can expect if you are a rock star.
Yeah, maybe not normal is the word, but your stereotypical kind of crazy rock life. So the whole movie was just showing how awful and unfulfilling that kind of life is.
I loved it. I thought it was really good.
It was a well-made movie. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was a high-quality movie.
Yeah.
I think the Rotten Tomato meter was something like in the high 80s or low 90s.
Yeah, it was like 93 or something
But it
like
is
that.
just, it is a sad movie, and
Yeah.
it's just not the kind of movie I would usually pick.
I might not typically pick a movie quite like that, except whenever it is about a person that I am really interested in. I mean, I wouldn't go see a Taylor Swift biopic.
I'm sure there will be one eventually.
Certainly. But
like you wanted to see Bohemian Rhapsody
I
because
really
you
wanted
have
to
an
see
interest
Bohemian Rhapsody.
in Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. I still really want to see that. So this was definitely something that I was interested in, and it was very good. It focused, on his personal aspects of his rise to fame and kind of the beginning of his sobriety. It was good. I would recommend it.
Yeah. I think it might be more of a Redbox movie. I mean, I don't know. Like, it was very good. I don't think it was very cinematic, necessarily.
I would consider it cinematic, but I don't think it's anything that relies heavily on a big screen. So I think a Redbox movie is fine.
Yeah. I think I put movies like the last couple Bond films. What were they? The octopus one, Skyfall, and then the other one. Whatever the other one is.
The other one was the octopus one.
Yeah.
Skyfall was before that.
Whatever those two are. Like, those two were extremely cinematic movies. Amazing, gorgeous shots. Like, I think at the end of whatever the last one is, I think they had, like, the biggest explosion ever, like, on a screen.
Oh, really? Oh, I think you're right. I remember that.
So those are movies that I would say, like, you kind of need to try to see it in the theater. Or like Avatar was like that too. Like, it was very visually, I don't know, important to the movie. Anyways, the movie was good. The date was good.
It was a good date.
It is hard to believe that we've been married 4 or 5 years.
Sometimes it feels like this is our first year. Sometimes it feels like this is our 50th year.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like life will never end.
Okay, well that's
Or
a little
that
bit
it's just
darker.
beginning.
That's a little bit darker than I was looking at.
It doesn't quite feel like 5 years. I'll just mention here at the end, I did get a few new things posted on the website. Our family went to the zoo on Memorial Day, and I took a few photos there.
I love the zoo. This was possibly one of my worst zoo experiences.
Oh no. Why?
Because I couldn't see any of the otters.
Yeah, Shelby's a big fan of otters.
And we have otters at our zoo.
Yeah, they were all tired and napping.
And they were hiding. And usually I don't see them particularly active at a zoo because otters just like to chill. But even whenever they chill, they're at least chilling like where I can see them. I just didn't get to see them at all. It was a big bummer.
Yeah, I'm sorry, babe. Overall, the visit was good.
It was. I still love the zoo.
None of the photos I got were, like, portfolio worthy, but they were all good, I think.
I thought a couple of those peacock ones were really good, but...
Yeah, and I like the one of the ducks. That one was good, too.
The ducks were good, too.
Anything else we missed?
Nope.
Alrighty. See you next time.